Okay, I'm here with Jax. How you doing?
Hey, yeah, you're all right, buddy.
Lead singer, performer of Jax&Co, Johnny Cash tribute, and loads of other stuff. You do solo stuff. You've been in Oculus.
Oculus, Hardest Insanity, punk, metal, everything. Yeah, no, I love it.
Loads of things. And like a few people I've interviewed, your weekends and often weeknights are spent gigging. And obviously at the moment you can't do that. How's things? How are you feeling about it all?
Um, Not too bad. Just kind of, I think at this point, just kind of missing doing live gigs, and just can't wait for this to be over and just get back to playing and just having a laugh and just seeing everybody again. I think there's going to be a lot of hugs all around when this is done. I'm not going to let go of people. I've already said, I don't know how much of a gig it will be when we first get back to playing. It's just going to be a lot of people just hugging and just getting really pissed, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally every weekend you've had a couple of gigs. Have you cancelled everything, or are you?
I think that what I've basically said to the venues from, because we had a couple of venues calling up saying, "I'm sorry, we're going to have to cancel," and I said, "Well, no one's really going to know how long this is going to go on for, so there's no point in cancelling. Let's just call it postponed. We'll keep all of the stuff booked in our diary, and then whatever week." If it gets lifted and the pubs sort of reopen, which I'm not, they're sort of saying that pubs might be the last thing to open. But if that happens, then we can give them venues up a call and sort of say, well, we've still got it booked in. Do you still wanna have us play? And see what they want to do. And we're still happy to play. I'll play in people's gardens if I have to. I just like playing. I miss it.
The whole band have been doing the online stuff, the streaming. You've been doing that sort of separately, haven't you?
Yeah.
But what else have you been doing to keep busy during this time?
Binged a lot of TV. No. I don't know. I mean, we've been working in the sort of like behind the scenes, as it were, to try and because we were all kind of like not the greatest with technology, except for our guitarist, who just seems to be a technical whiz. We're sort of trying to figure out how we can all record and then kind of bring it all together and hopefully put out some tunes, maybe put out some videos like once a week or something like that. That's sort of what we're aiming towards. It's all kind of trial and error at the moment. We keep trying things out and going, does this work? Does this work? And it's kind of like, it's annoying. We could just do with someone who's got a recording studio and just throw us all together, but we can't do that for now because we have to stay separate. But that's a bit of a shame.
Difficult thing. And you were going to be doing some stuff with Oculus again, yeah? Is there anything coming of that?
Well, I mean, we've all been sort of like a bit quiet, really. I know drummer Lee's still working. I think we're going to maybe do something together. James and Pat have obviously got Paint in the Silence, so they've been working hard at that. But James, bless him, he's in a similar sort of boat to the rest of us, where he's sort of, struggling to figure out how they can record. I think he's using his I think he might be using his car as the sort of like the soundproof room, the sort of like recording booth. Because it is, if you've got a decent, like, sort of like a modern car, the sound is quite a weird sort of sound inside a car. Like you could probably use that like a mini studio. If people outside don't mind, they might just start walking past and see someone just randomly singing to themselves with no backing track. Might be so it might be better to drive out to the middle of nowhere and do that. But I've heard a little bit of some of their other stuff, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with, like, because they're brilliant. Yeah.
It's like the car thing. It's good how people are sort of improvising with things to do things you couldn't normally. I mean, outside of music, what else have you seen that you think is quite positive about how people are behaving or doing?
Trying to think. I don't get out much.
Oh, you shouldn't. You're not allowed.
Oh, dude, no. To be fair, I mean, like, I sort of try to go out every other day, either for a bit of exercise or just to get some food, because we're right by town, so we just walk straight in. But you sort of see everybody out there and they're sort of keeping their distance and stuff, and a lot of things on Facebook, and people are trying to keep positive. And I think that's the main thing. That's why we've started doing like the live streams and things like that from pretty much from day one, because as well as it keeping us going, like it's keeping our morale up. Definitely like my folks and Andy, our guitarist, and my sister now did her first one yesterday, and hopefully we can get our drummer Tom to do one. But it's about kind of like keeping morale up. And I think that's sort of why I do it. And I do it because once you've done a live stream like that, you get some really lovely messages afterwards from people saying that's really cheered me up and sort of made my day. And I sort of said, yeah, that's, I want to do that when I'm trying to help people. And it's helping me as well. It's keeping me sane. It gives me something to look forward to once a week.
So you live near town and you've been to get food. What's the atmosphere from people been like when you're out and about?
Do you know what? It's been getting busier since I've sort of like since I've been going out sort of every other day and whatnot. I've noticed an increase in people. People keeping their 2-meter distance. When you queue up to go in a shop, fair enough. But when you actually get in the shop, it's like all bets are off. So you're sort of trying to keep your distance. I don't know. Have you been in a shop?
Yeah, I've been in shops, but I've been to, there's a little corner shop near me which I've been in the most because it's convenient. I don't have to be out for long. But it's such a small shop.
Yeah.
Even if there's two of you in there, it's hard to have the 2-meter.
Yeah.
So it's just about being sensible. And I've been getting lots of smiles off people as I walk by and that sort of thing.
Oh, I think people are definitely saying hi to each other a lot more, which is really sweet. I think it's sort of, in a way, it's kind of, it's bringing it back to that old sort of like, because normally, you walk down the street and no one will even really look at you. But now people are sort of like saying, oh, hi, and how are you coping, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
so
neighbours are speaking more than they were before.
Yeah.
The only time my neighbours would speak to me would be like, turn that down, or something like that.
Yeah.
And now it's like, are you all right? So that's good. And I think the human side of this, pulling together.
Yeah.
I don't really like everyone comparing it to, it's like the war, because it's nothing like that. It's not
no, wait, actually, I was chatting to. Sorry, I was chatting to a friend of ours, John, who is a big help. He does a lot for the charity Each, which we're hoping to do something with once we get this recording sorted out. John, if you're watching, I apologise it's taken so long. We're getting there. We're pulling our hairs out. He was saying he was chatting to one of sort of like these elderly people that he knew that was alive during the wartime, and he said it's getting compared to wartime, but it's nothing like wartime, because he said one of the things that they encouraged during wartime was that small communities, got together in groups, and so that they weren't alone in this. And I think the hard part is obviously we're all segregated, so in many ways it's kind of like the war in the sense, this fear of what could happen, but we can't band together and safety in numbers and all that, because that's kind of the opposite of what we can do. So it's almost harder, I think, is what this elderly gentleman was saying. It's sad.
I think it's don't know, obviously I wasn't alive, I'm old, I'm not that old. But it's not as a scary situation as the war, obviously, but it's stranger, and a lot of mental health problems and stuff will come out, I think, because people are on their own.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm thinking how lucky we are. I've said this in a few of these interviews, so if you've listened to a few, sorry for repeating myself, but how we've got this technology, how we've got Zoom. I mean, since it started, we've sent each other the odd message because we've been mates a good few years now. But before the interview, we had a good half-hour chat on here.
Yeah. Oh man, I could chat with you for hours.
but it's good that we can do that. I caught up with an old friend last night. We said we'd meet on Zoom for half an hour, and we were talking an hour and a half.
Yeah,
2 hours, and that's good. But we're going to run out of things to say.
It's almost it does give you a chance to sort of like connect with people that you haven't spoken to in what seems like forever, because you've been busy doing this, that, and the other. And I suppose if there's one good thing to take out of it, I mean, like communicating more. And I definitely encourage other people to sort of like go through your friends list and think, who haven't I spoken to in years? Ring them up and just kind of go through people. I mean, I'm even with my family and stuff, we're meeting up on Zoom for a group call once a week, and we do a family quiz, and everybody brings like 5 questions, and it can be on any topic. My cousin, who's 18, is into drill music, which is just straight It's like really gangster, like.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something else. So I'm learning all kinds of new words and all these different. Yeah, I use a word and apparently that's not the way what that word means and stuff.
Yeah, I've had that.
I'm just not down
years.
with the kids anymore.
Yeah.
Basically, it just makes me feel old.
You're not rad anymore.
I'm not rad. I'm not hip. That is whack. That is.
That's good. You know, younger people doing things like that, and it's the older people, you know, who are scared of technology or simply can't work it, which is the worry. But it's so good to see people going out, bringing food for old people,
Yeah,
you know, ringing them up, you know, and that's the.
I mean, I think, like you were saying, like if this had happened years ago when we didn't have the technology to do it, it would have been even worse, I think. And I mean, we've sent a Kindle to my grandparents who've never had anything technological or anything, and kind of had to walk them through it on the phone. And now they're able to have Zoom calls with us and actually see us, because they've obviously been classed as, what do they call it?
High risk.
Yeah, high risk. Yeah. So they haven't been able to leave the house at all. So they've had relied on friends and that to look after them and go out and get things and things like that. And a lot of people have been really kind to them, which is really lovely. But
that's really nice, and it gives. I mean, a lot of people aren't working at the moment and they're bored. You know, go out and get some shopping for a neighbour, for a relative. Something to do, isn't it? Keeps you busy, and keeping the mind active is as important as anything. And that's the sort of struggle I have to start with. There's only so much TV you can watch, you know.
Definitely. I don't know. I haven't hit that peak yet. Do you know what? It was really weird when, like, I was chatting to some of my mates, because we had a really lovely catch up. I did a lovely catch up with some of my friends that I grew up with, like mates that I've been mates with since I was about 4. And when I was a kid, like a majority of my time, before I got heavily into like music and stuff like that, majority of my time I'd spend just watching films, which is probably why we get onto it. We're both movie geeks and TV geeks. And I'm like, and when my mates, I was chatting to my mates, like, you must be really proud because you've trained for this. I'm like, yes, I have. I spent years of my teen years just sitting in for days. I mean, I remember playing, what's it, like Fallout 3 on Xbox, and sitting in for about 2 weeks straight and not leaving the house, and that was the weirdest experience of my life, leaving the house after being in for 2 weeks.
Well, when this first started, I bought myself one of those mini Mega Drives so I could play like Sonic and all that. I'm not used to games anymore. You know, I haven't played them for 20 years. My eyes were hurting after a few hours.
I get migraines from PS2 now, which is sad.
Yeah. Looking at screens for too long isn't good. It's like, I've got so many books, and what we've been on this 6 weeks. Yeah, I finished one of them. You know, but
I haven't even started, so that's good going. I mean,
can you recommend for people who say aren't into much TV and stuff, and a lot of people aren't? Could you recommend any series they could binge?
Oh God!
On this time,
what have I watched recently? Well, the most recent one was, I hadn't watched it in a while, was the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. It's a classic.
Yeah.
I'm now starting on Angel, but there's a couple of other good series. I quite liked, if you like sci-fi, I quite enjoyed Falling Skies.
I saw the first series actually. Didn't Steven Spielberg produce that?
Yeah, Steven Spielberg. It's really good. Like it's the way I kind of view it is it's kind of a bit like Walking Dead, because it came out around the same time as Walking Dead. But I tried watching Walking Dead. I say tried. I got through about 8 series of it. And it
That's a lot.
Yeah. I was addicted to it because I was just like, every season was like shit would just keep happening to these poor people, and I was like, it's got to get better for them. There's got to be hope, and then they just keep getting beaten down and down, and it gets to a point where it's just like, oh my God, these poor people. Like, there's like, I feel for a show for me to enjoy it, I need to have a little bit of hope in there, and it just like every episode is just depressing as hell, and it gets to a point where it's just like, this is just ridiculous now. Whereas Falling Skies is like the opposite.
Did they only do a few series of that, or is it still?
There's 5 seasons of Falling Skies, but it's got that kind of like, obviously kind of despair of kind of like humanity on the road, and not only have they got to deal with like an alien invasion, but they've also got other humans, kind of like Walking Dead, where you've got other humans that are trying to attack you as well and against you and stuff. But at the end of it, it's got more of a positive, more of a hopeful message. Which I like, that kind of stuff. So
I find a lot of shows can be brilliant, but they don't go anywhere, or it seems like they repeat themselves. So if something's popular, they keep making it. Whereas 5 seasons is perfect. There was 5 seasons of Quantum Leap. Perfect.
Yeah.
You know.
And Breaking Bad as well for me. I mean, Breaking Bad, I feel like 5 seasons, and it just is like a perfect story from start to finish. It wraps up at the end, done. I mean, they did a film to follow on from it, which you can watch if you want, but you know, it's okay. I didn't mind it. It was nice just to see some of the familiar characters again, but you know, I feel like the story wrapped up neatly at the end of season 5 anyway.
Yeah,
have you seen Breaking Bad?
I saw the first series. Everyone was going on about it, and it done my head in, so I didn't actually watch it. But I mean,
it's all on Netflix. You should do it.
It is, yeah, but I'd rather watch something else. But it's
at least you're honest.
People recently, and it's sort of given people hope for it, is actually the Ricky Gervais thing, Afterlife. Which,
my mate was going on about that.
It's really good. I think it's emotional and really funny. Kind of works almost like a modern day Chaplin, because Chaplin, I know something slapstick, but that was very emotional, and then you'd be laughing. But they've done this really great first series. Everyone's raving about the second series, which is really good. But for me, it's just the same thing again. So it's getting TV right. But saying that, this is the perfect time to watch something like that. It's 3 hours, definitely. The whole series, you know. It's
well, I think there's definitely some TV series out there that sort of like repeat themselves. There's ones that keep it interesting. I mean, I'm a bit of a sucker for Supernatural. There's nearly 15 seasons of that, so if anybody fancies a sort of supernatural program about 2 brothers that hunt demons and all that kind of stuff,
I've still got to start it because you gave me your DVDs of that.
Yeah.
I will.
I think I'm still missing. I lent the other DVDs to a mate. I think you're missing like one of the season 5 or something.
Well, I'm not on season 1 yet, so I won't worry.
Oh, you're all right.
But I will give it a go.
It is good though. Yeah.
We've done it. I said we'd go over. I said I'm trying to keep these at 15 minutes. We're on 16 minutes. So,
that's all right. We can afford another 4 minutes.
I just anything else? Any other observations about the lockdown that? I'm mainly looking for positive stuff. But anything else sort of stands out about this time that you want to just talk about, or is it changed you in any way? You know, your outlook.
To be fair, it's just like reaffirmed, you know, because obviously before the lockdown, you know, I was gigging every weekend, and you know, I love doing music. The live aspect, you know, I like just getting together and just basically having a party with a bunch of mates and stuff, and you know, because that's what a lot of the people that come out to see us now, you know, they've gone more from just fans to more like another extension of the family. So when you're out there playing with them, it's just like, it's great. You just get to hang out with all these people. So if anything, it's just kind of reaffirmed, you know, how much I was enjoying it. It's sad times. I can't wait to get back to it. I've already said that that if, you know, the lockdown gradually gets lifted and we're allowed to meet up, because they were talking about being able to meet up with more than like maybe around like 10 people or something, as long as those groups don't go out with anybody else, you know, if your families want to meet up. And I've already said, well, I'll just meet up with my family and we'll have a big jam. I think is probably the first thing I'm going to do. So I think that's kind of the thing, is just definitely holding on to hope. I think is the hardest thing, just looking forward to that. And
it makes you appreciate what we had or have, you know, like family, you know, people who sitting about on their phones when they're sat next to their parents, they could be talking to their parents, you know.
And there's really stupid little things as well. I think there's stupid things that should not be overlooked, but like just the little things. I was chatting to someone the other day and they said, I miss car boot sales. Like you get, you know, really stupid things that you wouldn't think. You'd be like, oh, I'll just get back to that when it gets, but like
I beat a car boot though, could you?
I had a weird dream. I know I was really drunk the night before, so it was an alcohol-fueled dream. But but I dreamt that and literally all the dream was I was walking around charity shops, and I was like, "What the fuck was that about?"
I love a charity shop. I'll put some on this page eventually. But you know, my best friend Elmo came from a charity shop. I was just in one. I bought this Elmo. I'm like, he'll be good for the pub.
You find some good gems in charity shops. I find sometimes better stuff in a charity shop. But it's weird, like the little stuff that I think, you know, people won't take for granted when this is over. I mean, it will eventually come to an end. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's how we get there and you know, and what happens really.
And it is. It's like anything in life. It's like learning from what's happening. You know, it's like a lot of people are acting like it's the end of the world. And you've got to realise the stuff we consider really important isn't as important as we think it is. I mean, you think we're lucky to live in this country with stuff like this going on. We're very lucky. And it's always compared with, well, this country done it better. So they probably did. But look at people who've had horrible lives. We've been living in relative comfort, and we're missing things like going to watch a football match. You know, so you've got to look at it as, you know, we are very lucky. And
on the grand scheme of things, missing things like, you know, going shopping at like clothes shops and charity shops and that kind of thing. On the grand scheme of things, you know, it's not a, you know, like a massive thing to go up for this sort of time, you know. And I think, you know, one of the things I was chatting to someone else about was how actually having, like, there's a lot of people out there, like I've obviously, like I said, when I was younger, I spent a lot of time indoors watching telly and stuff like that. But, you know, there's a lot of my friends who haven't done that. Like, I know there's a lot of friends who are really hitting them hard because they would be out every single day because they've got to keep busy.
Yeah.
And I know that makes me sound terrible because I'm like just a lazy shit, but I'm not, you know, I'm busy doing, like, now with like the band and everything, I'm more motivated. So I'm not like that anymore, but, yeah, I've completely lost my train of thought. But I think, like, for folks, it's maybe like a time of like reflection. I know I've talked to people who were working non-stop, and some people maybe now are necessarily going, holy fuck, like, all I did was work, and now there's suddenly I can do this and I can do this and all these things that I've put off for years. And then it actually makes them a little bit more reflective. You know, I know someone, I won't drop any names in case they don't want people knowing, but, you know, it's given them, they actually got offered like a promotion, for sort of like when they eventually get back to work and stuff, and it was better money and this, that and the other, but they realized that it was actually going to affect the time they had to do like things they really enjoyed doing in a big way, so much that they probably wouldn't be able to do half the stuff anymore that what they were doing before the lockdown, you know, the hobbies that be barely doing anything at all. And it suddenly makes people maybe appreciate like their quality of life. And, you know, there's a few folks out there, I've done it myself as well, you know, where you get into like a cycle of kind of like living to work when it should be, you should work to live. Like, your life shouldn't be devoted to just work. You should have a balance, you know, so you can stop to smell the roses, as they say.
Exactly. I mean, it's like things like, I've said this before, but yeah, people go, oh, all you want to do is sit around and watch some films. I'm like, well, that's my treat on my day off or after I finish a 12-hour shift. Chill and watch Arnie push someone off a cliff. You know, that's fun. But from what you're saying there, I take that as, you know, I think a lot of us are so reliant on the routines that we've built ourselves through our life that when something comes to stop it, it actually affects us mentally. And it's very hard to adapt, especially suddenly. It's like, imagine if we were told in 2 months' time, you're going to have 3 months where you're not allowed to do much apart from an hour walk. Everyone would have prepared, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
you know?
You'd have made a schedule up, right? Well, I might not have done, but I think
you just got box sets. You know?
I just been like, right, how can I still play music and but yeah, I think there would have been a lot of people who would have just been like, right, okay, well, this week I'll do this, and I'll just make sure I've got loads of things on my mind. But because this was people just thrown into it, there was a massive adjustment period where people didn't really know what to do. But now you hear, I've been chatting to people and people are saying, oh, I've just been doing gardening non-stop, or I've been doing more cooking, or someone else who, I know people who want to be musical, want to like actually get better at like guitar or this, that and the other. But they've been like, I've just never had any time to practice. And now I'm actually picking up an instrument and giving it a go. And all these people, things that you put off, it's worth using the time to do that. But equally, I think the hardest thing is the motivation. It's so easy to suddenly sort of try and feel really, like, it's easy to suddenly feel positive, but then it's easy to slip down and start feeling like, oh, I really should, like you said earlier, like I could start that book, or I could just watch another episode of my thing, and maybe I'll have a drink as well. Like I know a lot of people who like start drinking more during.
Well, yeah.
But what are you going to do? You ain't got to get up for work in the morning.
And then people aren't going to go out and start a fight on the street if they're drunk, surely.
Well, no.
there is the worry, which is a serious thing, of people they're living with. So it's got to be, everything in moderation. And but for me, it's like the binging. I've got for the first time in ages, I've got into a really good TV series. I've got about 6 episodes left, and I don't want it to finish. So I'm looking for things to do to not watch TV. So that's motivating.
What series is it, out of curiosity?
Parks and Recreation, the American comedy.
Oh yeah, my mate was into that. I haven't. That's another one I haven't watched. It's sort of in the watch list, but I never got around to.
It's one that I think a few of the characters in it you'd really like. Chris Pratt's in it as a sort of man-child who's a musician.
I'm trying to think. Is that the one that's got the guy out of The Hangover, the Asian guy?
Yes,
the one that they lock in the boot of the car.
I think it's him. Yeah. No, I haven't seen The Hangover since it first came out. But yeah.
Love it.
Right, we're nearly on a lot longer than. But thank you very much for doing this.
So we do segments instead. I feel like we should do just one a day. And
one a day for 23 hours a day, and we'll sleep for another hour, and then get up and do it again.
We only need
thanks,
that.
Thanks very much. I've got, if this website all works out, I've got an interview I've done with you about a year ago, which I've never put out. So I'll put some of that out as well, and we'll have another chat another time. Yeah. Thank you very much. And people, I will put a link to the band's website and stuff as well, I think. So,
cheers, man. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Lovely.